You're good. You're a pro.
Are we live on Facebook?
Waiting on YouTube.
Okay, well, we are live on Facebook. We're going to be starting in just a minute, people. If you are seeing us in your feed, stay right there because we're going to be live on Facebook soon, right? I mean, on Facebook. We're going to be live on YouTube soon, right?
So I hear.
Yes, so we hear. Okay, tell me when we're live. We're waiting. If you're on Facebook already, drop a comment. Tell us what state you're in. I want to know. Jill Simonian from PragerU Kids. Let me know. Should we have a dance party while we're waiting?
I know. This is when we start singing.
Old mom dancing. I know. Anyone who's on Facebook now watching us, you're getting the real show. Are we live? Tell me we're live. I can't see anything in the studio. Yes, we are live. We are live. We are live. Okay. How's that for excitement? Hi, everybody. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Jill Simonian from PragerU Kids, and today's Tuesday, May 7th. Correct? It is Tuesday, May 7th. I was quizzing you, Sabrina.
And I was not ready.
It's okay, because guess what? We're busy, but we're here live on Facebook and YouTube from PragerU Kids, educating our children with values, patriotism. We teach what should be taught in schools, but unfortunately is not most of the time. So if you have not yet subscribed for free to PragerUKids.com to get all the resources you need for education and for tips for us parents, subscribe right now, PragerUKids.com. We have got I don't want to say explosive revelation of a conversation today, but we kind of do. I'm joined by Sabrina Cosmas. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yeah, you did. You nailed it.
Yes. Okay. I love, this is a personal moment. I love this young woman. You're a mom of two. Mm-hmm. We're going to cry, except we're not going to cry. No. We're not going to cry.
We're consummate professionals.
We are professionals. And because we're professionals, we're going to ask you to drop a comment right now on YouTube and Facebook what state you're in, because we are here in the belly of the beast in California. And Sabrina is our Senior Director of PR here at PragerU, and you brought a shocking story to my attention and all of our attention last week that we're going to discuss. If you've read the title and the description of this, buckle up, because here it comes. Ramona Middle School in Verne, California had what I'm going to call a very severe incident these last few weeks. What happened was they hired an outside performer to perform on campus for a 7th grade Renaissance fair. And what happened after that was extremely messy. I'm just going to say it was very messy. If you caught my reel on Instagram last week, which was subsequently shared by libs of TikTok, and I think has, upwards of 2 million views right now. People are just, flabbergasted that this happened. I'm going to bring you up to speed with what happened. It's a short 1.5-minute reel. Let's take a look and listen right now to give you the rundown.
Middle School in Verne, California, for an audience of 7th graders. Allegedly, the on-campus performance was not explicit, but according to parents and teachers, he instructed students to follow him on Instagram, so some of them did. And what they found was a bunch of this, and more pictures and videos talking about fetish. One student dropped a comment saying, "Hell no, don't ever come back to Ramona." The performer then responded, "Ha ha ha ha," or "What do you think you're going to do about it, little boy?" The communication then went back and forth between the parent and the school board and the principal, and the principal actually wanted the student to apologize to the performer, but then retracted it. It was a very messy situation. My biggest question as a mom, how could the school administration not vet this performer's online profiles before hiring him to interact with minors on taxpayer-funded property? Makes you wonder who's showing up on campus at your kid's school.
Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. And there we have, of course, Reclaim Your Children's Education. We've got resources, PragerUKids.com. But yes, makes you wonder. And that was the biggest question with all of this, Sabrina.
Yes, and calling it messy is actually quite generous of you, because this is beyond messy and so concerning. And I'll let you dive into the timeline, but This is so shocking for myself included, because the reason this even was brought to my attention is because this happened right next to my hometown, and there are very active, patriotic parents that are fighting for their kids' education at the public schools in the greater Verne area. And for this to happen in an area like that where parents are so hands-on and involved is very stressful because you can imagine what's happening at other districts across this country, especially in the state of California. So this just was an attention grabber, to say the least. And then, sure enough, I mean, I don't want to tease anything, but from the PR standpoint, you are going to be seeing this a lot more in the press.
Yeah. And here, let's just go through the timeline really quick. First of all, I want to ask anyone watching on Facebook and YouTube, have you heard of this story? And please tell us, what would you do if your child was in this situation and you were a parent at a school where something like this happened? I'm curious, what would you do? Here's what happened. And I'm just going to give a very factual point blank timeline. April 10th, Ramona Middle School had the Renaissance Fair for 7th graders. This performer, we saw his Instagram handle there. Here's the thing, and I do want to preface this. Every person and performer has a right to privacy. I want to be very explicit about this. Explicit. I mean, no pun intended, but pun intended. So I want to be very forthcoming about this. Every person, every performer, every individual has a right to privacy. You can make a living however you see fit, whatever. However, when you are going onto a campus interacting with children, minors on taxpayer property, that's a whole different ball game that is really, enveloped in, parental rights and informed consent and all of those things. But here's what happened. The performer, Aaron Bonk, on Instagram, his profile on Instagram was previously public as of May 1st. I checked it on May 1st. But many parents are saying when he did perform at the school on April 10th, the performance was not reportedly explicit. Parents verified that the performance on the campus at school was not explicit. It was for 12 and 13-year-olds. However, the performer allegedly encouraged students several times during his performance to follow me on Instagram. And that's according to parent volunteers who were on the premises. So the next day, reportedly, April 11th, a student who was at that presentation went to the social media that the performer said, and, follow me there. The student went there and discovered explicit content, age inappropriate content, and he left a public comment. So right now, I would like to just take a look at some of the videos and pictures that have since been removed.
That this 12-year-old found, and I can imagine there were more 12-year-olds that saw this as well.
Right. So this content, I do want to show some of that. Let's start rolling some of the videos and images that were reportedly found. Okay, so there we go. Hi, hello. And what's the caption there? I see something about Fetish Factory, describing fetish.
Kinks, quite a few posts about kinks, fetishes.
Right. So this existed on this performer's public Instagram profile at the time when he performed on campus, when he allegedly encouraged kids to visit his Instagram. One student in particular found these types of things. Let's just roll through the footage. I want to roll through the images. Here we go. More, again, talking about fetish. Oh, there we go. We got the middle finger.
Yep.
Because you want 12 and 13-year-olds to see middle finger.
I mean, that's the least of my problems with this photo, for being honest.
Right.
And in drag, even though he does not do drag, but he had to stand in solidarity with his friends that do drag and post this on his public page that he was driving minors to.
Right. And again, I will say this in a very point blank way. Every individual, every performer has the right to free speech, even if you and I don't agree with it. He's got the right to free speech, but when you're directing minors to your profile and this type of stuff is on there, it's not responsible.
It's a problem.
Okay, so let's keep going, keep rolling through the footage. I drink and I throw things. Okay, now that was admittedly an old post. Oh, here we go. We got get bonked stickers. Okay, so, adult humor. This, I'm not going to be a prude. It's adult humor. Not appropriate to direct kids to Instagram, okay? So keep rolling through the footage. What else do we got? And then here we have, okay, we got the video. We'll just let this video play, Sabrina, while you and I talk over this. So the next day, the student allegedly... there's no sound. I don't think there's sound here. Leave your comments also if you are aware of this story on Facebook and YouTube and you know anything. If the video's not rolling, it's okay. We can go ahead and skip to the comment. So the next day, the student visited this person's Instagram page after the performance. He found all this stuff. The following week, The mother of this student reportedly got a phone call from the Ramona Middle School principal saying, your student, your child, left a comment on this performer's public Instagram page, and your child should apologize to this performer. Now let's see the comment.
Serve detention. He threw out detention
You're
as
right
well,
about
remember?
that. You're right about that.
So the school also wanted to reprimand him for a comment left on social media.
Reprimand the student
Yes.
for the comment left on social.
Yes.
Here's the comment, and we've blanked out the commenter, who was in fact the student, either 12 or 13 years old. The student said, hell no, don't ever come back to Ramona. Now I will caveat this with saying the mother, in letters that I have personally seen between the mother and the principal, the mother did tell the principal, that is not okay that my child left a comment. I will be disciplining my child appropriately. We will be talking about responsibility. He will have consequences and accountability for his actions. However, the mother told the principal that before she scrolled through and discovered all these videos and instances of explicit images that we just shared with you. The performer replied to the student's comment, ha 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 ha, what do you think you're gonna do about it, little boy? So that's when the mom's red flag, alarm, ding, 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 something ain't right here was raised.
Yeah, and I want to add something.
Please.
Because kudos to this incredible mom.
Yeah.
I mean, she could write a playbook on how to do this, but this is a very important tip for parents. Once the mom realized what the content of the social media page had, the principal was trying to call her and get her on the phone, and she refused to get on the phone with him. She said, I want all of our correspondence via email. And I think that is a very important tip for parents, because the more documentation you can have in situations like this, the better. It's very easy to be reactive and want to pick up the phone, and you're angry and you want to talk to the parent or the principal or whoever the staff is then and there. Documentation is so important in these situations. So I can't suggest it enough, whether it's text messages or emails, screenshot everything, save it.
Yes, and furthermore, and we've talked about this many times at PragerU Kids, through our resources that we have on our website, we constantly try to remind parents to keep things documented and in a public forum. Because yes, as humans, it is much more, many times it is much more beneficial and productive to discuss and talk and, all of that human quality of talking to each other is beneficial and ideal. However, when we are dealing with situations like this, it must be in a public forum, it must be in writing, it must be documented on email, because public information records can be requested, and those should, God forbid, it, progress to being in a courtroom or a legal situation, you must have those documents. And additionally, public forum via school board meetings.
Yes.
Has to be on the public record. And this particular mother has done all of those things. So the mom then, understandably, starts exchanging a series of emails and letters with school board members and principals saying how this performer, asking questions. That's another thing we want to talk about. Ask questions. How was this performer vetted? Who knew this performer to hire this performer? And the response that she got in writing from the principal cited a quote unquote staff member discovered this performer at a Renaissance fair and thought he would be beneficial for the kids to see.
And it turns out that this was actually the second year that he had performed at the school. But I don't know if the content wasn't on his social media before or it just was not vetted.
Right.
And that's very concerning. And he was not a local performer. So someone intentionally had him travel in for this performance.
Yes. This performer is not local. He allegedly lives in Florida. So that's another question of why was an outside performer hired to bring into this school? And then the other questions that this mom has been asking through the course of letters and emails and written correspondence, as well as a school board meeting where many parents did mobilize, that happened on May 1st, the school board meeting, the parents were asking, how did this performer get here? Because as parents, we have to be vetted by what? Name all the things.
Yes, they have to have background checks to go on campus. They have to have fingerprints. Did this performer have any of those things done prior? Clearly, his social media wasn't even reviewed prior to having him on. So that's a very concerning fact, you know.
It is
and it's probably something
concerning.
you've never thought you've have to ask your school, because you're thinking, oh, wow, I'm jumping through all these hoops as a parent to be able to go onto campus. Surely they must be doing this for these outside vendors.
Yeah, and I remember when my kids were in public school, I had to get a TB test, okay? And I think that, you know, it's likely the case in Bonita Unified School District, where Ramona Middle School is in Laverne, California. Parents have to go through all sorts of health screening processes, background checks, fingerprints. You have to fill out all the forms. The way parents are filtered now to gain access to the child's campus, to volunteer as a parent, it really is a lot. And and then there's a situation like this where there's an on-campus performer saying, follow me on my Instagram, and then you go to the Instagram and it's a public profile filled with all sorts of age inappropriate things. The reason we're bringing this up now, I will say the parents in this area have mobilized.
Yes.
Fully mobilized. They are going through the appropriate processes and channels and really investigating what their options are. This particular mother has since filed, I think, she reportedly, several public information requests.
Yes.
To get information.
Which is so important to do as well, because interestingly enough, you see the correspondence between her and the school board, and the principal is getting more dwindled. They're not answering a lot of her questions. When these brave parents last Wednesday spoke at the school board meeting, the school board sat in silence and said and did nothing.
Well, the interesting part about that, and this is something that I never knew, and this is a testament to my own lacking education in terms of civics and how government should work. I never knew that when you are in a school board meeting, it is protocol. And parents, please weigh in on the comments. It is protocol that a school board not respond to the parents who are speaking or asking questions. It is literally an official rule guideline.
What is it? Guilty by omission?
I know.
I hate to say it, but it's a little concerning.
I know. And it's like, listen, your kids are very young. My kids are in this middle school age bracket where, frankly, I have learned so much in the last 4 years since the lockdowns of how our school boards function. And it really is quite unbelievable. But the protocol is that school board members are not allowed to respond to the parent asking questions. So it really is a strange question. It's a really strange situation. Sabrina, I want to ask you this. The responsibility for this mess in Bonita Unified School District lies with who? The performer or the school district? What's your opinion?
The school district, 100%.
Me too. I agree.
They are the ones that hired it. They are the ones that you are trusting your children with for 8 hours a day, and that should be screening the people that they are interacting with. It is completely the school district's fault.
I fully believe that as well. And I really hesitated to, I mean, that's my face. I did the reel on Instagram, last week. And I really hesitated in my heart of hearts to share this particular performer's profile. I don't necessarily agree with the type of content that, he has chosen to share. There it is right there. We have it. However, I am a believer in individual freedom, and this is an individual, and we live in a free country, and he has the right to share the types of things that he sees appropriate for his life or business or whatever. And I really hesitated to share it. However, I did share it because the onus of responsibility does lie with the school district and the school administrators and the principal and whatever staff member hired this person to come onto campus, who then this performer allegedly encouraged kids, oh yeah, follow me on social media. And maybe he said it innocently. Maybe as a performer he said it innocently, but maybe not.
It does not even matter, because when you look at the page, it says enough.
Yeah, and it is a real, I think, cautionary tale for parents, because in the last few years, we've become so desensitized to seeing on our social media feeds the outright display of drag queens performing at school rallies. And we've seen the outright display. I can't remember which school it was several months ago that had a rally or an assembly where there were faculty members licking toes.
Oh, yes, like peanut butter off the feet or something.
It was something very bizarre.
Yeah.
We've seen that outright display of inappropriateness. However, this particular case in Bonita Unified that just happened, to me, was a very covert. It was after the fact, but just as damaging.
Yes, and also an update on the performer's page. What's interesting now is that on a personal note, I did repost this performer's content because I was very concerned, but it's also public. He had a public profile.
True.
I then ended up immediately blocked. He scrubbed his page, but thankfully myself and some of the parents had screen recorded and taken screenshots of a lot of his content. The performer's page is now private, and now his bio has been changed to say 18 and over.
Yes.
Which is also a complete red flag. Why is someone with an 18 and over profile performing in front of children?
Performing in front of children, exactly. And that is a valid point, because if you go to this person's profile now, you will see that it is private. And you're like, it's private, no problem. It was not private on May 1st because I looked it up.
Yes, any child, as we saw, several children likely saw it.
Yes, and here's the thing. I hate, it's like, this is a very serious conversation, and I don't mean to take a frivolous turn with it the way we're just sort of trying to make light of it. This is very, very serious. And perhaps it's just a testament to how desensitized we've all become as parents. And it's really tragic.
Yeah.
Because as shocked as I am about this, I'm not surprised. And I don't think most parents, if you're watching now or if you're watching after the fact, not live, I don't think many parents are surprised. And it's really sad. I mean, it really is sad. It's devastating.
Yeah, and we've become completely desensitized to this.
Yeah, I want to go to the comments really quick. I'm on Facebook reading comments because, quite frankly, I can only handle comments from one outlet. So if you're on YouTube leaving comments, we'll revisit those comments at a later time. But for today, on Facebook, some of the comments I have watching from North Carolina. Hello, North Carolina. Someone couldn't hear the recording. I certainly hope that's different now. Why even have a performer? School is for learning. A valid question. Let's see, from Liz. Parents take responsibility. Remove your kids out of schools and homeschool. Otherwise, shut the hell up. Liz, I don't disagree with you. But I will add that this is so difficult for many, thousands, millions of parents to wrap our heads around. And I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I used to be the biggest cheerleader for public schools. My sister is a current public school teacher in a wonderful public school district that is not unionized, by the way, who is holding the line and maintaining patriotism and standards.
That's interesting.
It's amazing. It's fascinating. Yeah. She's very lucky to be there. She loves it. My mother was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I come from a family of educators, and wrapping my head around this concept that the public school system is broken beyond repair is actually very devastating. And I think it's very hard for parents to wrap our heads around it, and we're trying to find our way out of it currently. So let me see what other comments we have. Oopsies. Hold on. Let's see. Homeschool is a way for conservatives to make sure their kids don't grow and live a happy life. Oh, I got to disagree with you,
that's
Jason.
a major disagreement. I have to say, so prior to me doing PR with PragerU, I worked with our student program, Prager Force, and some of the most socially normal, exceptional kids that I interacted with were homeschooled. They knew how to speak with adults. They knew how to interact with people of all ages. They were so well-rounded. They play instruments. They're involved in their communities. They play sports. They're social. That is, honestly, I've had my whole perspective on homeschooling completely flipped upside down.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I've seen that firsthand in real life experience with kids that I meet who come here to record some of our PragerU Kids shows, as well as kids who are, family members of friends of ours who have since been homeschooled, the last few years since the lockdowns, and I've just seen a tremendous growth. I took my own kids out of public school about, I think it's 3 years ago now. And it was such a hard, difficult Band-Aid to rip off because it just went against everything that I had been, schooled about my entire life. But I really have seen a growth with my children now in a very small, private classical school, a gem of a school that just functions on virtues and standards and responsibility. And it really is, we're living in a very confusing time, but it's also, I'm really trying to look at this as a most exciting time.
Yes.
To really reshape and reinvent for the better.
Yeah, and it's very exciting seeing so many parents mobilize in these communities to say something. There was probably at least 10 parents that showed up at Bonita Unified last week to speak in front of the school board. So that gives me hope. There are still so many fighters here in California that are not willing to back down.
Yes, 100%. So anyways, we wanted to share this messy situation. You like the way I keep using the word messy?
Messy is a safe word, but
I don't know what other word to use. I literally don't know what else to do.
It's so messy.
We are going to continue to update you about this situation in Verne, California, with this middle school that hired this performer. We are going to do our best to bring to light various other stories if you have them. So if you are a parent or a teacher and you have a concerning story or a positive story to share, we've established an email that you can send tips to us, and it's tips@prageru.com. You can remain anonymous. You can invent another email, but you can share things with us if there is a situation at your school that you would like to bring to light. Mind you, we appreciate factual information. We want things documented. This is not like a rumor mill. This is not, everything is fact checked. We will go and do our due diligence homework to really investigate what is happening based on public records. But you can send us emails to tips@prageru.com. And as a reminder, you can always subscribe for free at pragerukids.com to get all the resources you need, whether it is for educating your kids with, values and financial literacy or civics. We have materials and videos and books and worksheets to educate our children, but we also offer resources and advice and tips for parents to how to look up public information requests, how to organize yourself to speak at a school board meeting, what's the best plan of action to do XYZ at your school. We offer resources and tips if you are a subscriber to PragerU Kids for free. So we just encourage you to visit us and keep up the good fight and send us, all of your hopes and prayers and information that we can just overcome this situation together. Anything else to add?
This battle.
It's a battle.
It is a battle. But so impressed by parents like you leading the charge in this, Jill. It's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm impressed by everyone who is really mobilized, because we can't do as individuals, we can't do everything, but everyone does have a little bit of a part that we can do with all of the gifts that we have as individuals. So thank you, Sabrina.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. You're wise beyond your years.
I learned from the best.
No,
That's
stop.
why.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Drop us a comment with any questions or comments you have, and subscribe to pragerukids.com. Thank you for all of your support, and Godspeed to all of us out there. Bye-bye.